We did it! Can I pay you to pretend that never happened?
For those of you unaware, I am Dipcifica Trash. It is a ship that I love gushing about, with it being one of my favorite ships. I adore Dipper and Pacifica's snarky yet wholesome dynamic, and how their mutual dislike of each other slowly turns into admiration. In fact, one of my first ever videos had me analyzing Dipcifica along with Dipper's other ships, Candip and Wendip. But between realizing that I could have dived deeper into the nuance of a relationship involving two 12-year-olds, and now having supplemental material that provides additional insight into the ship, I figure it'd be fun to analyze the ship again. So without further ado, let's take a look at these two snarky kids' relationship. Pacifica was first introduced in Season 1, where it was made abundantly clear that she was the stereotypical mean girl of the series. Yet despite being such an awful person, many fans, myself included, ended up loving her, much to Alex Hurst's confusion since she was made to be an anti-version of Mabel. I can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself that I loved Pacifica because of how much of a stereotype she was. Whereas with other characters of her archetype I wanted to see get punched in the face by the protagonist, Pacifica was just fun to watch. I think a big contribution to Pacifica's weird likability was her voice actress Jackie Buscarino performance as her.
Party crown? I'll take that, thank you very much.
So between her being a character that many fans loved and the fact that she was a new character who was Dipper's age, people naturally started shipping her and Dipper together, even though logically that made no sense at the time. But hey, if shippers allowed something as silly as logic to get in our ways when it comes to shipping, then shipping would be a lot less fun. Though it is funny that as popular as Dipcifica is nowadays, there was a time when the ship was considered a crack ship. While I didn't really ship them in Season 1, I did entertain the idea of Pacifica falling for Dipper or vice versa due to all the hilarity that would ensue, since if such a thing were to happen, Pacifica and Mabel would constantly be butting heads. But I later realized that it was never going to play out like that, since Dipper wouldn't fall for someone that acts awful towards his sister. Yet the tide for this ship began to change in Season 2, where Pacifica's character was given more focus due to Alex taking note of how much the fandom loved her. The Gulf War was the first step in Pacifica's character development, in which prior to her golf match with Mabel, it's shown that her parents are quite neglectful and overbearing, as they stressed to Pacifica the importance of winning, but didn't even bother to stay and watch their daughter's golf match. This moment alone added a lot of depth to Pacifica's character, since viewers got a better understanding of why she acts the way she does, along with why she cares about winning so much. This moment is actually a nice clever callback to Pacifica's first appearance in the series, since given how her father stated that Northwest don't lose, Pacifica felt like she needed to win the party crown when she tied with Mabel. By the end of the episode, Pacifica and Mabel end up on somewhat good terms with each other, with Mabel apologizing for cheating and even offering Pacifica a ride home. And in return, Pacifica not only begrudgingly thanks Mabel for the ride, but even admits that she had fun. But while Pacifica's relationship with Mabel had improved by the end of the episode, her relationship with Dipper was still filled with animosity. To Dipper, he still saw Pacifica as nothing but an insufferable spoiled brat who had bullied his sister, with him having no reasoning to forgive her like Mabel did. And while Pacifica's viewpoint on Mabel may have improved due to her kindness, Dipper didn't do anything in this episode that would change Pacifica's viewpoint on him. But between this newly added depth to her character and her rivalry with Mabel being resolved, it did open the door for the show to explore Dipper and Pacifica forming a friendship. Or perhaps even a romance. I'm not going to lie, after watching the Gulf War, I was imagining all the scenarios of how a romance between the two could play out, along with me constantly looking for Dipcifica fanfics. I even wrote a Dipcifica fanfic set after the episode with the two competing in a chess tournament. Don't try finding it, I deleted it ages ago since it really wasn't that good. But the show eventually gave me the solid Dipcifica content I needed in Northwest Mansion Mystery. Due to a ghost haunting the Northwest Manor, the Northwest family enlists the assistance of Dippo, with the episode properly exploring Dippo and Pacifica's dynamic with each other. I think one of the best things about this ship was how Dippo and Pacifica couldn't stand each other at the start. While Mabel may have warmed up to Pacifica, Dippo still didn't care for her. This is especially shown in this glorious scene.
I need your help.
You're the worst.
Because of his dislike of Pacifica and not caring what she thinks of him, Dippo is very confident and snarky around her. This is a stark difference from how awkward he acted around Wendy due to his crush on her. Meanwhile, Pacifica dislikes Dippo simply because of his social status and being a nerd. So she just continues to be her typical self instead of trying to be nice to him. Because of these factors, it results in a very entertaining dynamic of the two swapping quips and butting heads, which is ironic due to how similar they are to each other. Both of course being snarky and full of themselves kids. These moments alone were making me ship them, but the big moment came when Pacifica hugged Dippo after he captured the ghost. I am not exaggerating when I say I have rewatched this scene over 100 times. Everything about this scene is great, from Pacifica suddenly hugging Dippo, to Dippo himself being confused, and then Pacifica realizing what she's doing as she pulls away, with both being awkward about what just happened. After that, Pacifica's view of Dippo seems to completely change due to possibly being impressed by him along with being thankful that he saved her. This is especially shown when she questions Dippo's choice of leaving the party, which could be interpreted as her wanting Dippo to stick around a bit longer. Vice versa, Dippo's view on Pacifica seems to have changed as well, with him remarking that she isn't as bad as he thought she was. This is possibly from the fact that she showed genuine gratitude towards him with the hug and how she seemingly wanted him to be at the party longer. His actions around her especially signify that change, since whereas earlier in the episode he was confident around her, he now acts more like a dope, such as walking into a column when trying to make a cool exit. Yet when Dippo learned from the ghost that the Northwest knew about the coast and could have easily broken it themselves by letting the townfolks in, he's furious that they tricked him, especially with Pacifica. I'd like to think Dippo being so mad with Pacifica was because just as he was starting to think that maybe she isn't so bad after all, he was proven wrong. On the flip side, Pacifica being hurt by Dippo's comment and feeling guilty for tricking him could be a result of her opinion on Dippo changing after he saved her from the ghost. When the ghost later tricks Dippo into setting him free, with him proceeding to turn everyone at the party into wooden statues unless the Northwest opened the gates, Dippo searches for Pacifica. But when he comes across her, he finds her wallowing in shame due to discovering that her family has always been liars and criminals, along with not being able to stand up to her own parents.
You were right about me. I am just another link in the world's worst chain.
Ever since her debut, Pacifica has always been a prideful character whose confidence seems to stem from the belief that she comes from a family of amazing and successful individuals. So it makes sense that discovering that everything she thought she knew about her family was a lie would affect her in this manner. We actually saw a bit of that in Irrational Treasure when Dippo told her the truth about how her ancestor didn't discover Gravity Falls since she was shocked by the revelation. Sure, she may have seemed to move on from it as seen in Golf Roll, but she may have just been putting on a brave face to show that Dippo's words aren't getting to her. It's also possible that even if her ancestor was a fraud, she believed that the rest of her family was at least legit, only to now learn that isn't the case either. Seeing Pacifica be genuinely sorry results in Dipper apologizing for what he said earlier, with him telling her that she doesn't have to be like her parents or the rest of her family, with it not being too late to change. I found this to be a very wholesome moment, which fueled my love for this ship even more. It really goes to show how while he may be more cynical compared to Mabel, he can have just as big of a heart. Because of Dipper's words of encouragement, it gives Pacifica the strength to stand up to her father and open the gate, with it breaking the curse. We get one last Dipcifica moment near the end in which when Dipper points out how the two are trekking mud on the carpet, Pacifica decides to continue to mess up the carpet, with Dipper joining in as the two share a laugh. This was a genius way to end the episode since it shows how Pacifica's character and her relationship with Dipper have come full circle. Earlier in the episode, she stopped Dipper from going into a carpeted room since he'd get mud on it despite the fact that they were being chased by a ghost. But now, not only is she not stressing about it, but she's also taking joy in messing up the carpet. To say that Dipcifica exploded in popularity after this episode would be an understatement. But it makes sense, since in the span of 22 minutes, the show demonstrated just how entertaining and wholesome Dipper and Pacifica dynamic could be. Pacifica was a character who believed that she was better than everyone else and felt that she should be beloved because of that. Yet Dipper challenged that viewpoint by not worshipping the ground that she walked and making her realize that the way that she behaved was awful. But ironically enough, Dipper's initial disdain of Pacifica is what led to him developing feelings for her, as hinted within the official Journal No. 3 book. Because he had such low opinions of Pacifica, it makes her moments of compassion and genuineness in the episode all the more shocking to him, with his opinion of her becoming more positive. Though while Northwest Mansion Mystery may have been the only episode we got that showcased Dipper and Pacifica dynamic, we did get one more adventure with the two that added more fuel to the ship in a Gravity Falls graphic novel, Lost Legends. In the story, Pacifica goes to Dipper for help since she needs him to use the journal in order to get rid of her wrinkle due to her family doing a magazine shoot and she needs to look perfect for it. When Dipper refuses due to how dangerous the journal is, she goes behind his back out of desperation with her summoning Mr. What's-His-Face, a being who can fix your face for a price. Naturally, with a description like that, he's not someone that can be trusted. When he attempts to steal Pacifica's face, he ends up taking Mabel's instead by mistake after being startled by the twins. This results in Dipper and Pacifica chasing after Mr. What's-His-Face in order to get back Mabel's face. Now, even though the two are on better terms since the story takes place after the events of Northwest Mansion Mystery, the two are still pretty snarky with each other, which was a blast to read. Though the crux of the story is how Pacifica is obsessed with looking perfect, something Dipper doesn't understand at all until he asks Pacifica. She explains that from a young age, her mother taught her that beauty was everything and that people only judge the book by its cover. So without her looks, she isn't sure who she is. But just like in their episode together, Dipper brings Pacifica out of her slump by pointing out how there's more to her than just her looks. He finds Pacifica to be smart, confident, and creative, traits that she demonstrated throughout their adventure with him seeing that side of Pacifica as the real her. You can really see how touched Pacifica is by Dipper's kind words by her glimmering eyes before giving Dipper a hug. And in the epilogue of the story, it's revealed that Pacifica may have developed a crush on Dipper, much to Mabel and my own excitement. Her developing a crush on Dipper makes perfect sense since despite their bickering and her finding him to be nerdy, she realizes that Dipper is a kind-hearted guy who sees her in a way her own parents never have. While the ship may not be officially canon, it doesn't take away from the fact that there is a mutual attraction between Dipper and Pacifica, with the bond that the two develop being incredibly wholesome. But what do you think of Dipcifica? If you're a fan of the ship, when did you start shipping the two? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so you'll be notified when I make a new video. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find the links to them in the description box below. Until then, I'm Meowta here.